Yo, what's good, Raider Nation? Welcome back to the channel. We got some big news coming out of Vegas right now. Reports are saying that Raiders are planning to release quarterback Geno Smith before the NFL league year begins, which we already saw coming. Now, if this move actually happens, it would mean that Geno Smith lasted only one season with the Raiders before the team decided to move on from him. Let's talk about what happened and why this makes sense. We already know he didn't want to be in my opinion, from what I've seen, he didn't really want to be a Raider. He didn't embody the Raider committed to excellence, in my opinion, right? And let's remember how Geno Smith even made it to the Raiders, right? So back in 2025, the Raiders traded for Geno Smith from the Seattle Seahawks, hoping he could stabilize the quarterback position, right? And the ties to Pete Carroll. And I think Pete Carroll really thought that Geno Smith would be not the savior, but I think he thought that he could help during that time, right? And the plan was simple, right? Bring a veteran quarterback who had experience, leadership, and just revived his career in Seattle, right? In fact, I think Geno Smith had one of the best comeback stories in the NFL, right? He actually won Comeback Player of the Year in 2022, and he made back-to-back Pro Bowls with Seahawks after spending years as a backup. So I think that's why he was bought to the Raiders. I think that's why Pete Carroll figured that's the Geno Smith the Raiders were going to get. So when the Raiders bought him in, the hopes they could have a bridge QB while the team rebuilt the roster, right? That was the plan. So bring in Geno Smith, rebuild the roster, and then we can move on from him and get another quarter or get a rookie that can sit behind him and learn, right? But unfortunately, that's not how it went at all. So during the 2025 season with the Raiders, Geno Smith threw for over 3,000 yards and 19 touchdowns. But remember, he led the league in interceptions, and I think it's like 18 of them, 17 of them. And the Raiders struggled really bad under him as a quarterback. I believe the Raiders finished 3-14, and Smith went 2-13 as a starter for the Raiders. And on top of that, now I wouldn't say this is all his fault, but he was constantly under pressure behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league, which was the Raiders. And it's 55 sacks. That's a lot of damn sacks. That's a lot of them. Too many sacks, if you ask me. Pause. But so now the Raiders front office appears to be resetting the position completely, which I don't understand why I don't know why we're so bad at drafting. Like, what took so long for us to even get to this point to even get a quarterback? Like, I don't know. I'll talk about that in another video. But reason why they're going to be releasing Geno Smith is because, of course, the upcoming draft, right? So right now, Raiders hold the number one pick overall. Whew, number one pick, baby. Let's go. And most projections, of course, we're going to take Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza, right, who just had an incredible college season and won the Heisman Trophy. And if the Raiders draft a quarterback first overall, it makes sense financially and strategically to move on from Mr. Smith, right? So even though we got good salary cap, it sucks because, well, I guess you could say releasing him would save about, $9 million in cap space, $8 million in cap space, even though the team will take around, I think his contract is like $18 million or something in dead cap money. So basically the Raiders would be eating some of the money in order to start fresh as a quarterback. But we all remember Marcus Russell, right? So I think we'll be okay, right? But the interesting part is just because the Raiders released Geno Smith doesn't mean he's done in the NFL. He's 35 years old and still experienced, which means some teams might view him as a bridge QB or a veteran starter for a young team. And remember, he already proved early in his career that he could bounce back. He went from a backup to a Pro Bowler once before. So the real question for Raider Nation is, I think, it's not even a question. It's the right move. He doesn't want to be a Raider. I heard a lot of things about him really just not being a Raider. And then his gesture towards the fans. And I know as fans be tough on these players, but I don't think the gesture was okay. But anyways, I'm glad he's being released. He can go on and play for someone else. I think make room for Fernando. One of my other videos, I mentioned Carr coming back. I know a lot of people don't like Carr, and some of us do. I think Carr was one of the best quarterbacks that we had. And I think if he did come back, I would love to see him play for one season and teach Fernando and show him the ropes and show him, help him get better. And I would love to see Khalil Mack and Derek Carr back. And I would love for Max Crosby to be on the other side, right? But anyways, man, drafting quarterback number 1, the rookie, he going to have a lot of pressure. And either way, is one thing that's clear, the Raiders officially entering a new era for quarterback, and the draft completely changes the future of the franchise. But Raider Nation, I want to hear from you. Are you guys ready for the draft? And getting a quarterback, man. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, because we're covering Raider news, rumors, and draft talk all season. Until next time, Raider Nation, just win, baby.